Welcome to About Mansfield, your audio newspaper. I'm Steve Casillo, broadcasting from the Cellmark Studios, along with the About Mansfield news team. Colleen Daniels, she's out there in Studio West. This is the April 2nd, 2025, 265th edition. Coming up, it's Mansfield News, Talk, and Information.
And a little later in the episode, you will have a chance to win a $25 gift card to a Mansfield restaurant of your choice with our Mansfield Trivia Question, courtesy of Joe Jenkins Insurance.
Let's take a look at the stories we're covering this week.
Candy store to close their doors after a stellar run downtown.
Fire station unveils new fire engine.
Heritage Parkway repairs have begun.
Mansfield community comes together to reduce waste.
Six Flags implements new chaperone policy.
And in sports, Timberview hires a new head coach.
And in the talk segment, Steve shares his interview with City Council candidate Tamera Bounds. We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. This is About Mansfield.
Hey there, it's Luke from Cool Hand Electric. Are you tired of dealing with plugs or lights that just won't cooperate? Well, don't fret. Give us a call. Worried about power outages or surges damaging your precious electronics? We've got you covered. Whether it's a whole house generator or surge protection, our solution-oriented Cool Hands are ready to tailor the perfect option that suits your needs and budget. At Cool Hand Electric, excellence is still cool.
Cool Hand, Cool Hand, Cool Hand, where excellence is still cool.
Are you ready to create unforgettable memories? Picture this: an enchanting event venue nestled amidst breathtaking landscapes with panoramic views right here in Mansfield. The Grandview Event Center is the perfect setting to bring your vision to life. From intimate gatherings to large-scale extravaganzas, the Grandview has flexible spaces to accommodate any occasion, be it a graduation or school function, art exhibition, or birthday or anniversary party. Book your next unforgettable experience at thegrandviewmansfield.com. That's thegrandviewmansfield.com. The Grandview Event Center, where memories are made and dreams become reality. Book your event today.
Hi, I'm Dr. Tondra Grimble with Sim It Up Sports, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield. This portion of the news is brought to you by the Grandview Event Center in Mansfield.
It all starts with a simple purchase of a candy bar, perhaps a Chick-O-Sticks or a Payday, only to find out that it's what's behind the counter, or who in this case, that keeps you coming back. Andrea McMillan is who's been behind Andy Mac Candy Shack for the past 7 years on Main Street. The smiling faces and the stories that have been told over the years are just a couple of reasons why one-time customers become regulars. McMillan announced on social media on Thursday that let's let Andrea tell the story.
I hate to tell you this, but we're going to be closing. We're going to be closing sometimes towards the end of May. I'm sorry. Things have kind of progressed along, and we're going to be doing business as usual up until then.
McMillan recalls opening in 2018 and, specifically, her first customer.
Yeah, I've enjoyed definitely helping teach some little tiny humans how to read and their ABCs by special treats and things like that. I want to give a special shout out to my very first little one that came into the candy store, Finley. Finley, you were my first one into the candy store, and I will be there at your graduation.
Andrea McMillan, along with her son Brandon, will close their Andy Mac Candy Shack doors in late May. But if you know Andrea, she'll be back with something bigger and better.
Mansfield Fire Station number 2, you know where that one is. That's on Country Club Drive near Matlock, has introduced a new fire engine to its fleet. The 2024 Spartan model replaces an engine that had been in service since 2008. Officials say the new apparatus will enhance emergency response capabilities in the community. The City of Mansfield and the City Council provided funding for the new equipment. Firefighters marked the occasion with the traditional pushing in ceremony, a tradition that dates back to the 19th century when fire departments used hand-drawn or horse-drawn fire apparatus. Since these vehicles couldn't be backed into the station easily, firefighters would manually push them into the bay after returning from a call. The fire department says the addition of the new engine aligns with its ongoing efforts to ensure public safety.
Construction crews began the first phase of a concrete panel repair project on Heritage Parkway Monday between Highway 360 and Matlock Road. Phase 1 consists of the right westbound lane being closed for repairs. The work started Monday, and the expected completion for Phase 1 is April 18th. Drivers are advised to use caution in the work zone, allow extra travel time, or consider alternate routes. Updates on future phases will be provided as the project progresses.
Mansfield residents are making strides in environmental responsibility. In the last quarter alone, the city recycled more than 2,300 pounds of grease, 7,700 pounds of paint, 4.3 tons of tires, and over 2,600 pounds of motor oil through its household hazardous waste events. Additionally, the city's street sweeper covered 281 miles, helping to keep the roads clean. Last October, nearly 200 households participated in Chunk Your Junk events, disposing of unwanted items responsibly. For those looking to take part in upcoming cleanup efforts, the city is hosting 2 recycling events. Chunk Your Junk and Shred Day will take place on April 5th from 8 to noon at the Chris W. Burkett Service Center, 620 South Wisteria Street. This event offers residents a chance to dispose of bulky items and securely shred documents. The second event is the Household Hazardous Waste Drop-Off. It's scheduled for April 10th and 11th from 3 to 7 and April 12th from 10 to 3 at the Environmental Collection Center, 616 South Wisteria Street. For more information on either event, residents can email ecc@mansfieldtexas.gov.
As summer approaches, we are aware that many Mansfield kiddos like to enjoy the hot Texas days and nights at Six Flags. The amusement park wants parents to be aware of a new chaperone policy that will be implemented soon for younger visitors. Guests aged 15 and under will need to be accompanied by someone at least 21 years old if they plan to enter or stay in the park after 4 p.m. Here's how the policy works. It applies to all visitors 15 and younger. It takes effect daily at 4 p.m. and lasts until closing time. Chaperones must be at least 21 years old and show a valid government-issued photo ID. One chaperone can supervise up to 10 guests. They must stay with their group upon entry, remain in the park during their visit, and be reachable by phone. Guests under 16 who don't have a chaperone may be asked to leave. Park officials say the change is in response to increasing incidents of disruptive behavior at amusement parks and entertainment venues. The new policy aims to create a safer environment for all visitors.
Timberview hires a new head coach, and we'll talk about it because sports is next.
I'm Philip Washington, Chief Investment Officer of Stonehill Wealth Management and host of the Wealth Building Made Simple podcast. First book I read in college was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it changed my life. And since then, I've read tons and tons of books on money. And what I've done is taken those lessons, simplified them, and I talk about those lessons on my podcast, Wealth Building Made Simple. So come hang out with us. We're on every major platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on YouTube. Wealth Building Made Simple.
Hey, it's Steve Casillo, and are you ready to make your voice heard? Want to bring out your ideas to life through captivating conversations and engaging visuals? Look no further than Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio, your one-stop destination for award-winning audio and video podcast recording. Equipped with cutting-edge microphones, crystal clear audio recording, and high-definition cameras, we're here to turn your ideas into engrossing content. But it's not just about the equipment. We're dedicated to bringing out the best in your content. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, we're here to elevate your podcasting game. We'll even help you with intro music, transitions, voiceover, and that professional polish that sets your podcast apart. So whether you're into interviews, storytelling, or simply sharing your expertise, Podcast Mansfield can help bring your podcasting dreams to life. Visit podcastmansfield.com. Podcast Mansfield, where creating your podcast masterpiece has never been easier.
At Methodist Mansfield Medical Center, we've been caring for our home team for over 15 years. Today, you'll find award-winning physicians on the medical staff, advanced neurosurgery, a level 3 trauma center, critical care for newborns, and comprehensive orthopedic care. Methodist Mansfield, delivering the care our friends, neighbors, and home team depend on. That's community, and why so many people trust Methodist.
In sports, Mansfield ISD has announced Jacody Coleman as the new head football coach and athletic director at Mansfield Timberview. Coleman previously served as head coach at Skyline High School in Dallas for 3 seasons, where his teams recorded a 6-24 overall record. Skyline finished the 2024 season with a 4-6 record, tying for 5th in District 11 6A. He takes over for Robbie DeSanto, who spent 13 years at Timberview, including 2 seasons as head coach. Under DeSanto, Timberview went 15-7 over 2 years, finishing 6-5 in 2024. The district confirmed his departure in February, but did not provide further details. Timberview has maintained a winning record over the past 7 seasons, including a 13-1 run in 2022 that ended in the Class A Division I Region II final. Before coaching at Skyline, Coleman was the defensive coordinator at Humble Atascocita. In his final season there in 2021, the team went 11-3 before falling to the eventual state champion Galena Park North Shore in the Class 6A Division I Region III final. Welcome to Mansfield, Coach. Elsewhere in sports, this is certainly worth a mention. The Legacy Lady Broncos softball team is on a 7-0 win streak right now, and if you add up the scores from the past 7 games, the girls have routed their opponents 79-2. The Legacy girls are in first place in their division with 6 games left in the regular season. If you have a comment about the show, the news, whatever's on your mind locally, the good, the bad, the ugly, you can reach us by voicemail at 817-435-2938. Think of it as your audio letter to the editor. 817-435-2938. Just a quick note that our city council and school board candidate interviews are now available on the About Mansfield website. Visit aboutmansfield.com and spend 30 minutes with each candidate, or at least 30 minutes with each candidate who granted an interview. I'll have more to say on that next week. Again, aboutmansfield.com, and at the top of the page, click on the interviews link. Also, I'd like to invite you to come meet the City Council and Mansfield ISD School Board candidates and hear what's on their minds at this free candidates event. It's Monday, April 7th at the Mansfield Activity Center. It's 106 South Wisteria Street. 5 to 6 p.m., you'll hear from council and mayoral candidates. 6 to 7 p.m., school board candidates will take the microphone. It's hosted by Citizens for a Stronger Mansfield. It's moderated by yours truly. All of the candidates have been invited to participate. This coming Thursday, April 3rd, is National Burrito Day. This delicious celebration honors one of North America's favorite Mexican dishes. Whether you're a fan of classic beans and meat or you go all out with cheese and salsa and, yes, even controversial, rice, there's a burrito for everyone. Burritos have been around since the late 1890s, making their way from Mexico up into California in the early 20th century. By the 1930s, restaurants were serving them up, and in 1964, the frozen burrito hit the store shelves, making late-night snacking history. You want to celebrate? How about you enjoy a burrito this coming Thursday for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Or get together with some friends, set up a do-it-yourself burrito bar, and roll your own. And then roll another one. Just don't bogart that burrito. As long as you've rolled enough for everyone, you'll be a hit. However you wrap it, National Burrito Day is a tasty tradition.
Coming up after the break, we turn the page to the features section.
Music Alley is this Saturday, and tourism manager Tim Roberts will tell us all about it in the Cultural Arts Calendar.
Are you suffering from allergies this spring? You're not alone. We'll talk about it in Methodist Mansfield News to Know.
In this week's Cocktail of the Week, imagine yourself at a sidewalk cafe in Paris, where the delicate scent of elderflower trees mingle with the sparkle of spring sunshine.
We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. I'm Colleen Daniel. and this is About Mansfield.
This portion of the news was brought to you by the Grandview Event Center in Mansfield.
Hey there, it's Luke from Cool Hand Electric. Are you tired of dealing with plugs or lights that just won't cooperate? Well, don't fret. Give us a call. Worried about power outages or surges damaging your precious electronics? We've got you covered. Whether it's a whole house generator or surge protection, our solution-oriented Cool Hands are ready to tailor the perfect option that suits your needs and budget. At Cool Hand Electric, excellence is still cool.
Cool hand, cool hand, cool hand, where excellence is still cool.
Congratulations to Allison Shelby, who knew that Ella Mae Morse's best-selling song was recorded with the Nelson Riddle Orchestra and titled The Blacksmith Blues.
See the hot sparks are flying like 4th of July. He's even got the horses swapping pop down the avenue. Folks love the rhythm, the clang, bang, and rhythm. You get a lot of kicks out of the blacksmith blues.
When we come back, this week's trivia question. I'm Colleen Daniel, and this is About Mansfield.
Hi, this is Joe Jenkins with Joe Jenkins Farmers Insurance, specializing in auto, home, commercial, and life insurance. I was born and raised here in Mansfield, Texas. We're active in the community, and Mansfield's a town we really care about. Our office has over 30 years' experience in the insurance industry, and we're passionate about what we do and about customer service. For a free quote, please visit our website at joejenkinsinsurance.com or give us a call at 817-472-6058. Once again, that website is joejenkinsinsurance.com.
It is time right now for the highly coveted, wildly popular About Mansfield Trivia Question. If you are the first person to email the correct answer to trivia@aboutmansfield.com, you will receive a $25 gift card to a Mansfield restaurant of your choice. Brought to you by Joe Jenkins Insurance. Whether you're looking for homeowners, auto, commercial, or any other type of insurance, Joe has helped Mansfield area residents understand the insurance coverage that best fit their needs since 2010. You can find him on the internet at joejenkinsinsurance.com. Colleen, give us the good news.
Well, Steve, many Mansfieldians remember the weekly Mansfield News Mirror newspaper, for it was the oldest newspaper in Tarrant County. But prior to the News Mirror, the newspaper was originally launched as the Mansfield Chronicle. This week's trivia question is, what year was the Mansfield Chronicle founded? Email your answer to trivia@aboutmansfield.com. Again, in what year was the Mansfield Chronicle founded? Good luck, and thanks to Joe Jenkins Insurance for the gift card.
Hi, I'm Scott Farrell, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield, your audio newspaper. Let's open up the features section.
Well, it's the first episode of the month, and you know what that means. It is time for the cultural arts calendar. We bring in the city tourism manager, Tim Roberts. Welcome back to About Mansfield.
Great to be back. Great to really be in the thick of spring now. We're finally out of that cold weather fluctuation, hopefully. And hopefully we got at least a couple of weeks before it hits 100.
And you and your crew, you just came off you're off the heels of the pickle parade, and now gosh, another festival's coming up.
I've said, some cities have summer, some cities have Christmas time. We're a spring city. We go Arts Week Pickle Parade, and now April 5th, Music Alley, the Music and Arts Festival.
And you announced the headliner last week, and that actually made me sit up a little straighter. And so tell us about, and let's just hold off on the headliner until I'll
sprinkle it. But Music Alley, 4 to 10 p.m. in historic downtown Mansfield, actually on Walnut Street. So behind all the businesses there, we get it all shut down. Beautifully decorated down there. We're going to have over 20 performers of all stripes, dances, every single kind of genre you can imagine, hands-on arts activities, all free, of course, free admission, free parking downtown. Some of the highlights for the performers.
Yeah, tell me about the highlights.
Tommy Luke, he was the winner of our annual Music Alley Main Stage Minute.
Yep.
We had well over 4,000 votes this year. So it was a popular vote this year, and he pulled out the win.
And there were like 75, 80 entries.
Yes, we had over 80 entries this year. So it grew exponentially compared to previous years. So Tommy Luke is opening at 4 p.m. as our big winner. Then we've got Mobley, great R&B artist, and Nick Parr and the Selfless Lovers, a whole, new genre of music. Trust me, you haven't heard anything quite like this. And then the headliner,
the one that got me excited,
closing out the night, is the Band of Heathens.
I was born in the rain on a pocket train underneath the Louisiana moon. I don't mind the strain of a hurricane. They come around every June.
I have seen them in Mansfield twice, so this will be their third time performing in Mansfield. I've seen them perform maybe a dozen times all over the country. So a fan?
So I mean, you're just a roadie at this point.
Yeah,
for the Band of Heathens.
if you can get me backstage to talk to Ed and Gordy, I'd be very happy.
Music Alley's pretty easy going. We don't have velvet ropes, so I'm pretty sure you can just walk on up and say hi. But yeah, that's 4 to 10 p.m. Saturday, April 5th. Come on down. You can get the full schedule of all the acts because we got a bunch of great, young up and comers as well. A lot of local kids making their debuts. You can get that at MansfieldMusicAlley.com. It's been named the best little music festival in Texas by the Texas Travel Awards.
Oh, wow.
Big part in us getting named Music Friendly Certified by the state of Texas. So it's got some accolades out there, so come check it out.
You have more stuff going on, and let's head into the next week, April 10th and 12th.
Yeah, we just take a little brief breath, and then we head into a weekend of our monthly staples, open mic night, Thursday, April 10th at 7:30 p.m., and then Saturday evening, Will Baffle with his monthly magic show, April 12th at 7 p.m. over at the Far Best Theater.
And then you conclude the month, and which kind of trickles into May, April 25th, Love the Fleetwood Project.
And they've got a fun one going this month. It is the complete works of William Shakespeare, abridged, revised, again. And that's important. That's very important to get that all in there. This is the complete works of William Shakespeare performed, and I think 87 minutes, 93 minutes. There's a specific time limit. 3 actors perform all of the plays of William Shakespeare in around an hour and a half on stage. It's riotously hilarious, super popular. So popular, again, that they have been revising it for quite some time for new audience.
So we get a little Romeo and Juliet.
Yes.
We get a little Macbeth, King Lear.
Othello. I'm pretty sure we're throwing in some Julius Caesar. I mean, we're hitting it all.
Much Ado About Nothing.
Yes, if you know it, it is in there. I believe there is a reference. It wouldn't be called the complete works otherwise. It is all in there. Just wanted to give a shout out to a brand new program we got going on, the Wallace Hall Art House at 210 South Main Street. It's the house right next to Fire Station 1, classic Queen Anne style house there in historic downtown Mansfield. That is our new full-time art house. We will have regular exhibitions going on inside. We have one right now called Walls That Speak that runs through June 1st. And the coolest part is upstairs, we have studio space. So now local artists can rent that space out, have a place to go to create anytime, day or night. Just a real cool thing to keep artists engaged. And again, have a place for art to be displayed. It's open Thursday through Sunday. Hours slightly vary a little bit, but you can find the info for that at MansfieldTexasArts.org. Again, just a way to expand the footprint for the arts as we really, move into that master plan mindset of how we're growing the arts in the city. So the Wallace Hall Art House, it's open right now. We actually have a ribbon cutting April 3rd, but you can go check it out anytime Thursday through Sunday. Afternoon hours, Thursday through Sunday. You can get the full hours on the website.
210 South Main Street, the Wallace Hall Art House. So go take a look at that. And Tim, I will see you Saturday at Music Alley, dancing like crazy, undoubtedly right there at the front of the stage for the Band of Heathens and the rest of Music Alley.
Yeah, bring your head banging, I guess.
There you go. That is the Cultural Arts Calendar. That is City Tourism Manager Tim Roberts. Tim, we'll see you next month.
See you then.
Angel Biasatti is here and wants you to know that if you're suffering from allergies this spring, you're not alone. In Methodist Mansfield, news to know. Angel?
Here in Texas, seasonal allergies are common. And with spring flowers budding, bluebonnets popping, and blooming trees, the biggest allergy trigger is pollen. Pollens can travel hundreds of miles in the wind, wreaking havoc in our daily lives. Allergy sufferers' most common complaints include a stuffy nose with clear drainage, results in constant blowing, or an annoying tickle in the back of the throat. If allergy symptoms are making you miserable, the first step is to take control of your environment. Limit outdoor exposure when pollen counts are high, and use over-the-counter nasal saline spray. Saline spray works by keeping the nose clean and counteracting a lot of the bad effects that pollen can have on the nose. For those with indoor year-round allergies, keep your bathroom free of mold. Even a little mold around the drain can cause major symptoms. Many patients also feel better when they remove carpet from the bedroom and cover their mattress and pillows with special dust covers. If these measures don't offer relief, then over-the-counter medications may help. Claritin, Zyrtec, Allegra, all of these can alleviate itchy, watery eyes, a runny nose, and drainage. And you can take them once a day, which fits into an active lifestyle. Those with nasal congestion may benefit from a nasal steroid spray. Your doctor can prescribe these sprays, and they're easy to use. They can also prescribe pills in conjunction with these medications, so your options are quite vast. If you suffer from allergies, constant sniffling, and sneezing, make an appointment with your primary care physician. Allergies are not just annoying. They can lead to sinus infections and colds. A doctor can offer relief from these symptoms and help you stay healthy. Reporting for About Mansfield, I'm Angel Biasatti with Methodist Mansfield News to Know.
Shaken or stirred, you know it's going to be good as Brian Certain serves up a drink with a little ooh la la in this week's Cocktail of the Week. Brian.
Our theme this month for cocktails is April in Paris, celebrating a sophisticated elegance of French mixology. All month long, I'll be exploring cocktails with you that are inspired by the City of Light, from classic French spirits to modern interpretations that capture the unmistakable je ne sais quoi of Parisian drinking culture. This week's feature is the Parisian Daisy, a sophisticated evolution of the classic Daisy cocktail family, which date back to the 1870s. The original Daisy was essentially a sour with something extra, typically fizzy water or a splash of grenadine. Our French-inspired version elevates this concept with Saint-Germain liqueur, the celebrated elderflower liqueur handcrafted from fresh blooms gathered in the French Alps. Today we're beginning our French journey with this elegant spring sipper. But don't worry about taking notes as I'm getting out the ingredients and instructions. As always, they're posted on bourbongospel.com. Ingredients. You want 1.5 ounces of premium vodka. Why premium vodka? Because life is too short to drink cheap booze. Then you get 1 ounce of Saint-Germain elderflower liqueur, a 1/2 ounce of fresh lemon juice, and then chilled soda water to top. Garnish with a lemon twist and fresh elderflower when you can get it for garnish. For this Parisian-inspired libation, fill the shaker with fresh ice, add the vodka, the Saint-Germain, and the lemon juice, shake vigorously for 15 to 20 seconds, then strain into a Collins glass filled with fresh ice, then topped with the chilled soda water. Garnish with a lemon twist and elderflower if it's available, then give a gentle stir. Flavor profile. Primary, you're going to pick up that delicate elderflower with the clean notes of the vodka. Remember, vodka takes on whatever you're mixing it with. Secondary, you're going to pick up that bright citrus notes from the lemon juice. And then the finish is going to be light, effervescence from the club soda with subtle floral notes. Why this cocktail for early April? The elderflower blooms that create Saint-Germain are harvested in spring, making this the perfect time to celebrate their fleeting beauty. Each bottle of Saint-Germain contains up to 1,000 hand-picked elderflower blossoms gathered during the brief 3 to 4 week period in the French Alps. Pro tip. Temperature, again, is crucial. Make sure all the ingredients, especially your soda water, are thoroughly chilled. The colder the drink, the more delicate the elderflower notes will shine through. But as always, I'm open to hear your take and input. You can reach me at brian@bourbongospel.com. And until next week, as Mark Twain said, too much of anything is bad, but too much whiskey is barely enough. Reporting for the About Mansfield podcast, I'm Brian Certain.
We're back in 60 seconds with Steve's interview with City Council candidate Tamera Bounds.
Imagine a city where innovation knows no bounds, where dreams take flight and the future unfolds before your very eyes. Welcome to Mansfield, a beacon of growth and a testament to vision. In the heart of Mansfield, a remarkable transformation is underway. But it's not just about the physical landscape. It's about the spirit that drives us forward. A spirit of collaboration that bridges cultures, a spirit of entrepreneurship that fuels prosperity, and a spirit of community that binds us as one. Mansfield is more than just a place. It's a canvas where diversity paints the picture of progress. From art festivals that ignite creativity to tech hubs that redefine boundaries, this city celebrates every voice, every passion. Mansfield, where growth knows no limits and the vision is limitless. Brought to you by the unstoppable spirit of the Mansfield Economic Development Corporation.
Hi, I'm Landon Day with Daydream Photography, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome to Campaign 2025 in Mansfield. I'm Steve Casillo, and today we are talking City Council, specifically Place 2, the City Council race. She's running for re-election. She's here in the studio. Tamera Bounds, welcome back to About Mansfield.
Well, hello. I'm glad to be here.
Should we just get right into it?
Yes, let's go.
Okay. For those who don't know you, why don't you tell people who Tamera Bounds is and follow it up with why are you running for re-election?
So, Tamera Bounds, I'm a Mansfield resident, of course, and have been a Mansfield resident for probably about 45 years. Raised all of my kids here. They went through all the schools back in the day when we just had the one high school, and we were just a little hole in the wall. And I have grandkids now, and finally got my son and daughter-in-law to move back here and bring some of my grandkids back here so that they'll go to school here as well. I have been involved in schools for a long time. I was a PTA member, cafeteria monitor. I became an HOA president.
Oh, those are fun.
Oh, it was a real hoot.
Yeah.
I first got to know the city when I needed them to fix Nelson Wyatt, and they told me they couldn't fix Nelson Wyatt. So I went before the council and told them they needed to fix Nelson Wyatt, and they were going to fix it. And so I did my research on it and showed them the potholes and made them come watch a bus negotiate with a car. Right. And I told them that they had all been educated now. So come fix my road. And they fixed my road.
All right.
And then I was asked to get on code enforcement after that. And then I was appointed as a planning and zoning commissioner. So I was that for a while and learned a lot of things about the city and land use and property. And so been involved with the city, for probably since 2012. So just out and about with all of that. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say that I have been married to my husband for 44 years.
Ah.
So.
Okay. And you've been on the council for?
Well, since 2021, January 2021, because of COVID, they moved all of our elections to November.
Oh, I remember that.
So we were sworn in January, the first council meeting, January of 2021. So just about about 4 years, a little over 4 years.
Okay.
Hit the ground running.
Yeah. Fire hose inserted deeply into.
Yeah.
And then the second part of that question was, why are you running for re-election?
So we have a lot of irons in the fire, a lot.
We're going to talk about all those irons.
Oh, but there's just a lot going. And like I had told you earlier when we were talking about certain things need to happen first for that domino to fall. And then once that domino falls, then the rest of the properties and everything will fall in place. The rest of the projects, the rest of the projects that we had put out there to happen will happen. The funding, all of those. We've been looking at trying to get to the cap for the homestead exemption, which is 20%. We're at 16 now. So we're working on trying to get to that, which will be up in that again this next budget season. We're going to try to continue to keep lowering the tax rate as well. We're down to a 35-year all-time low.
Congratulations.
I know. Trying to get it down even further, making sure that the projects that we have in place are adhering to the agreements, because not all developers are created the same. And you have to be on them constantly to do what you say you're going to do, and hold them accountable. And I've been there since day one, since the deals were made. And I'm going to hold them accountable to build what they say they're going to build. So I want to finish what I started.
Let's talk about the domino.
Okay.
In your mind, the first tile has to finish before it knocks over the second tile, the third tile, and we all know about the domino effect. In your mind, what are the projects that you have? What's the first project, and then the project after that?
Well, so I guess you would just need to be a little bit more specific because we got so many projects.
Yeah.
But we could say, like downtown, for example, we needed to be able to get the fire station moved. But in order to get the fire station moved, you have to find property for the fire station. We needed to be able to clear some land to build the watermill district. In order to build the watermill district, you've got to move the Texas tires.
And the fire station.
And the fire station. And the lot. But the lot we're ready to go on that.
Right.
And so I just cut the ribbon for Texas Tire the other day, so that was great. So they're ready to move. And so once we get them all out, then you're able to demo that building and then demo the next building. And then you're able to start to look at where you need to lay your utility lines and where, the property needs to come up to. So that's that little domino in that area. And once we can get that going and get that built, then you start bringing in people that will start living downtown. Now, we are looking at demoing the old MEDC building because we've got townhomes coming out there. And so they've had to go in and check all of it for asbestos and all the good stuff, to make sure that they can, environmentally get rid of it and clean it out so that we can get the townhomes down there. And so we're busy doing that. Once that happens, that's another domino that will fall because that'll give housing down there also that people can purchase and live in. We haven't forgot about Smith Street. We are still working on that. And then on top of all of that is the work that we're trying to do in the 100 block and trying to make all of that come together at a certain point so that you almost do one thing first and then you roll into the other. So we're really looking at what we can do with the 100 block. And then at about the same time that the watermill district is coming in so that you're working together with all that. You just don't have to stop everybody's life in phases. So looking at that. And then meanwhile, when those dominoes fall, it also means with the residents living, not living downtown, but the tenants that are downtown, what that would mean to them as far as during that time that we're working on the roads and all of that, what we do for them. So the next piece of that domino would be like Geyer Field. So we have Geyer Field coming.
Geyer Commons, right?
Yes. And with Geyer Commons coming, there's talk that you might be able to place some of the tenants in some of the market spaces there at Geyer Commons and be able to work there as well.
Yeah.
So that's just downtown in that one little area that we have, that if we can get those to go. Now, we already have dominoes that are falling for the stadium. So we already
the stadium.
The stadium.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Yes.
That seems to be a hotbed of conversation in the community. Some people love it. Some people hate the idea. Your thoughts on the stadium?
I think most people love the idea,
yeah.
But there's definitely people who don't like the idea. But I think a lot of the people who don't like the idea are afraid of it might not be successful, or afraid of the cost, or can't see the bigger vision of some things. And then some of them are worried that it's going to change their Mansfield. It won't be like the old Mansfield would be. But when you sit here and think about Mansfield, like we talked about my son moving back, my grandkids moving back, you have to look at the sustainability of Mansfield. And what does that mean? That means as we grow, being able to pay your bills for the city. So more, if you need more police, more fire, you need to expand your fire departments or add on to our new police department. Hopefully we won't ever have to do that. But you have to be forward thinking with that. And you need to think about what is going to continuously provide us with the financial ability to continue to pay for some of those. So sales tax is one, that will continue to be able to generate funds because people can come and they can shop. They'll go to games. They'll buy things there. So sales tax is very important.
And with the entertainment district around it, the high five and
That's all
those
of
who
that.
go bowling and laser tag and axe throwing, it all generates sales tax.
And it does. But then on top of all of that, because you've added the high five and you've added all of the other entertainment pieces, because that's our entertainment district, the property value in that area now has grown. I remember when they thought the best use for it was warehouses.
Yeah. I do remember that and they talked about the traffic that the semis were going to.
Yes, but they thought that would be the best and highest use for that. Well, let's think about that. Sure. I mean, we need manufacturing. We need all those things, but let's think about what the overall value that those warehouses were going to bring in perpetuity to keep us sustainable. Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
So you need to think about when we put in these things, how's it going to generate stuff here for us? So property value here for us, but people to come here and shop here that want to go watch the soccer games, that want to go to a rodeo that could be held in it. Because it's just not a stadium for soccer. It's a multi-purpose event place. And, creating it to be that, so that you can have more events all year round. And then partnering with people, with organizations that run their business pretty good or they wouldn't still be around, that have taken an interest.
How do you respond to residents who say, I think the stadium should have been put on a ballot for the residents to vote?
Well, there's a couple of things I have to say about that. Number one was it was put on a ballot. It was put on for the type A and B sales tax. There were propositions for it. There was education for it. I mean, I participated in some of the education for it. It was advertised. It was spoke at public hearings because you have to have public hearings by law. Mm-hmm. You have to have a public hearing. And in the public hearing, you have to disclose some of the information in there of what you're intending to build there, or, some of the uses. And a multi-purpose stadium was mentioned in all of that. Now, here's what I have to say about that. If you didn't know what you were voting for, that is absolutely not the fault of the city that you said, I didn't know we were doing this for a stadium. That is your fault for not being aware of what's going on when the propositions were there and all the education to ask those questions. And some people say, well, for example, it could be a play on words that people didn't get to vote or vote for the stadium. Well, I don't know that they didn't get to vote for the stadium. They may have voted no.
Yeah.
But the stadium won by a vote that agreed that the majority, as far as I know, we're still a democracy, that the majority wanted to see it pass and allowed us to use the dollars for that. And so when you say, or when people say, it wasn't brought before us for a vote, another piece of that would be we didn't bring it to tell you we were fixing to raise your property taxes, because if we were fixing to raise your property taxes, then we would need to be bringing it for a vote to the people for that. But we did bring it for a vote to be able to use those sales tax dollars. And you had the right to vote yes or no.
Yeah, so those who want to go back to and you can look this up on the About Mansfield podcast website, aboutmansfield.com, click on local campaigns, go to 2023, and you can read Proposition A and Proposition B that relate to things like amphitheaters, auditoriums, events, public park purposes, and multi-use infrastructure, and that's where the stadium came in. Multi-use event facility, a multi-sport venue.
Yes, and they can go to my website and see it too. I put it all on my website.
There you go.
So. And I believe that they can still get on the city website and go back and look at what all that was as well.
Reflecting on your current term, what are you most proud of accomplishing for Mansfield, and how has it positively impacted the community?
Oh, there was so much.
You only get to pick one.
I'm going to go to taxes because I heard that constantly. I'm on a fixed income. I need help. The taxes are too high. You're pricing, we're pricing everybody out. We need focus on traffic. On taxes. Now, that's a fine line with traffic and infrastructure too.
Oh, we're getting into traffic too.
Okay, but that's a fine line between those two, because that has been a hot topic, and I'm most proud of some things that we did for that. But being able to lower the taxes, the rate, as well as keep providing a homestead exemption, and pay our bills,
right,
and not have to the next year raise a dime of it back up, and still being able to pay our bills. So that was very important, to be able to give the people those things that they can rely on. Next, just as important was infrastructure, because I myself needed to understand infrastructure a little bit more, because you hear people say, you're not doing what you need to do with the infrastructure. Well, tell me what we're talking about on infrastructure. Are we talking about water, sewer, electric? Because that's infrastructure. That's non-road infrastructure.
Right.
Are we talking about roads? Are we talking about road infrastructure? For the most part, I heard, oh, well, I don't give a damn about water and sewer. We got enough of that. I want my roads fixed. I want my potholes fixed. I don't want to go cha-chink, cha-chink, cha-chink when I'm driving down the roads. I want more roads, or I want better roads. And so I heard that, and we did an impact study for our master thoroughfare plan. And I'm so proud of that.
Tell me about it.
Well, in it, we started on it like late 2023, because we're growing and the traffic is growing, and the traffic's just not Mansfield traffic. It's traffic with people coming in here. It's traffic with people going out. They're coming and going at the same time. And so we wanted to look at, with all of our development coming up, what that would look like for the future. Because between me and you, I don't know that a lot of that forethought was given on future traffic, because in the old days, they thought of arterials, and, streets would feed into the arterials, and then they take you where you want to go, right? So everybody piles on Debbie Lane. Everybody piles on Broad Street. And there's not different ways to get where you need to go unless you go this certain route. So we had this study done, and they identified some critical corridors. And some of the critical corridors, I know you won't be surprised.
Tell me.
Will be Broad Street from Cannon to Holland.
Cannon to Holland. Now,
West Holland.
Okay. And Cannon actually intersects twice with Broad Street. So Cannon over by the old Ray's Pharmacy?
Yes.
Okay.
Debbie Lane from 287 to Matlock. We know that that's something there.
Yeah. Oh, 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yes.
Woo.
And then Heritage Parkway from Main Street to 287. So that's up and coming with all the businesses and everything that we have going on. Lone Star Road from the South Point crossing to Matlock Road, because there's a lot of homes and things coming up there. And then Jessica Lane, which is from Dick Price to Farm Road 917. So we had them identify some critical areas of where growth is and where traffic would be. And then we wanted to look at neighborhood connectors. Because remember, I said everybody goes to the one street, right? We all pile on it. So we looked at where some roads might be expanded or where we could add roads. So we're looking at 6. So we're looking at Vinewood Drive, will be an extension to Heritage Parkway. So it'll come out of that addition right where the funeral home is.
Okay, yeah.
And then come out there, and then another one that'll come out to 287. Edgefield Trail, that will be an extension to Debbie Lane. Walnut Creek Crossing near Wilson Road. Grand Meadows Boulevard from Holland Road to 360. Holland Road north of 360, and Matlock Road, the railroad overpass south of Heritage Parkway. So those were all identified as necessary, and I know it's for your eyes only, but there is actually on the website, it'll show you where these all would be.
The city website.
Yes.
MansfieldTexas.gov.
Yes. And so, and of course, we're looking at funding and all of that for them. But we knew as we were growing that you can't keep sending the cars to the same areas. And so we needed to look at what other connectors that we could put into the neighborhoods to still get them where they needed to go. And then we also looked at neighborhood services. Where I live, we're going to have a prime piece of that coming up not too far from me at the Kinney track, where they're going to put in a little bit of community services that might have like a little mail area in it, a little coffee shop in it, something, it'll be great. I'll just walk out my gate and walk right back up there. And so looking at neighborhood services so that you don't have to get in your car and drive 5 miles to get a gallon of milk. You can maybe, walk.
Yeah.
And so some things along that line for infrastructure, we looked at stacking the lanes maybe a little bit longer and adding better turn lanes and not necessarily building more lanes, but thinking smarter about why are all the cars coming there? It's not, well, all the cars are here, so we need to build more, right? Like you were saying. It's more or less thinking smarter, well, why are all the cars here? Well, they're all here because they don't have another way to get to Kroger, or they don't have another way to get to Market Street.
Right. And I noticed that on Matlock at Cannon Road and also at Country Club, they extended the turn lane so that the people who are turning don't actually back up into the regular progress lanes. And that was a bonus because I use the one at Cannon frequently.
Yes, and we're also looking at a couple of more like that. I've been going to these meet and greets, and there's been some more suggestions about taking a look at some more areas that may be helpful to residents as far as stackable lanes. So there's a lot for the infrastructure, and we are working on infrastructure. And I will say, I have been charting on a spreadsheet on the dollars that we're spending, and I wanted to look back in time. So I took 2017 and moved forward to where we are in 2024, right? So and now we've got 2025 and I'm busily adding stuff into that. But overall, since then, we have spent about 76% more dollars just in infrastructure.
Yeah.
Now, last year, I think State of the City, I think Joe was saying 53% or something more just in the year. But over the time frame, I mean, my gosh, we fixed more potholes my first year, I was amazed. It was like 3,000 potholes. And I'm like, why did we take so long for that?
They're still out there, though. There
is, and we'll still be fixing them.
It's part of the dominoes, though, right?
It is looking at and making sure that you've got staff that's going out and looking. They're on your radar. You're looking at your roads. You're looking at what infrastructure that you need, infrastructure for roads, water, sewer infrastructure, electrical, infrastructure. I got tired of every time it thundered, my electricity would go off.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, we got to work on some of these things. So I can confidently say that we, and I know I have been a part of the transportation committee. I've been a part of the revitalization of downtown committee. I've been a part of the housing committee, of taking those things and looking at them and scrutinizing all of that. And what can you do better? But better doesn't necessarily mean more. It means intelligently looking at your strategies for all of that.
Let's talk about housing for just a second then. When you're out and about, so whether it's at one of your meet and greets or just out in the community, and someone says, stop the apartments, what's your response?
Well, we as a council, in my time, so since 2021, we have only on the ground being built 55 units, 55
units, not buildings, with multiple units within those buildings. Since 2021, 55 units have been approved by the council.
They have been approved and are being built.
Okay.
So when I hear that the traffic problems are where they need to be, when I hear that we have transients, or when I hear any of that kind of stuff, and why do you keep approving apartments and all of this? What people need to understand is the reserves, and I know we've talked ad nauseum about the reserves. The reserves were approved back in 2008, and it's a master land use plan. And it just so happens to be off of what street? Broad. Yes. And I'm going to say, based on some of the things that I've looked at just in my little 4 years, when the apartments were built, I don't know that much thought was given to planning for infrastructure, like the little community connectors or anything like that. Because remember, everything's dumped off into the main streets.
Right.
So I don't think that there was much thought given into that now that we're going to build all these apartments off of Broad, because that's mainly where the reserves are, that we're going to have all these cars now onto Broad, and we haven't built any connectors anywhere to take some of that load off. These are vested right apartments. They were approved long before I ever got on the council. And they were almost 4,000 of them that were approved. But that's just not the reserves. Trike properties were approved. M3 was approved. South Point was approved.
And those are all single-family homes?
Oh, no. I'm talking about the apartments that were approved within those areas as well.
All right.
So when you start looking at those things, you have even more apartments that were pre-approved that are already vested. They're done. Unless you can just say, oh, my God, it's going to set the world on fire. They're already done, and then now they're coming up for approval. And so what we've been trying to do is we've been trying to hold their feet to the fire as much as possible, or make them the best that they can be. So the 55 units were approved for the Alexander on Broad Street, because if you know, the shops at Broad went bankrupt. Mm-hmm. And so trying to get it back up on its feet trying to get, some good restaurants and retails all back in there. And so the apartments kind of lagged back behind, and the issue became on that they couldn't build like we wanted them to build. They needed the 55, well, they wanted more, but we said 55 apartment units would help them be able to build the parking garages there.
Yeah.
So now we have a parking garage. I felt like that was a pretty good investment. The 55 apartments would help for that, and it would bring the foot traffic downtown, but it would also raise the rent. Now, what you don't hear about the apartments is that this council has removed almost 1,100 apartments off the books.
Wait. Do tell. How'd that happen?
So we have through some of our zoning. So I'm sure you've heard that SOMA is the devil's doing, right? Because it's supposed to approve all of these apartments in there. SOMA wasn't created just to approve apartments. SOMA was created to have an orderly form of development within it. And within that, you come in and you have to have phases that you're going to build these things. Now, in the past, there was none of that. And so now the council can say you're going to build these things in this phase. So we've had some of the property owners that have come in and rezoned to SOMA and we've been able to take their by right apartments out and have put some homes in, because when they rezoned it, they took it out of the reserves that's already zoned.
Okay.
So we were able, off of one development, we were able to remove I believe it was 820 apartments. Now, remember I told you about the Track property that's going to be off of Lone Star?
Right.
All of those apartments are gone because we've been recruiting. Our economic department has been recruiting, businesses as much as possible that want to come here, good businesses that want to come here. And when they see that we're vibrant and they see that, we're moving and shaking and we've got good things coming here, they want to come here and they want to build. And it's not all about building apartments. So we're going to be able to remove close to 300 apartments off of the books, off of that. But you don't hear those things because what you hear is we're approving too many apartments. And let me add, we have not approved a single standalone apartment complex. None. Any of the apartment live, work, use, or any apartments that have been approved have been in a mixed use.
Yeah.
None are standalone apartment complexes, which is what we have a lot of here. So they'll come with their infrastructure, right? Because they'll have to have the infrastructure. They'll come with their stores and their retail and their connecting and interconnecting roads. They'll come with all those. So it's a dynamic process.
Tamera Bounds, we scheduled for 20 minutes. We've gone well over half an hour, and we could talk forever because you're easy to talk to. Is there any question that I haven't asked that you anticipated that you thought I was going to ask, and what would be the answer to that question?
Well, so I thought that you might ask about some of our districts. So, of course, we've got the entertainment district. I mean, I think we talked a little bit about that.
Sure.
But we reimagined our land use plan, and we reimagined that with hundreds of people attending it. And in the process of doing that, we created districts. So we had the Western Promise, we had the Innovation Hub, of which you sit right in that.
Sure.
We had the Entertainment District. And then there were areas that we had for neighborhood. So we had the downtown district come up. And so in looking at those areas of town, that's what we're looking at planning things in. So entertainment will be entertainment. The Innovation Hub will be Admiral Legacy, will be the expansion of cellars, we'll be doing a lot of those as well. So we have a lot of good things. We're a growing city and we're vibrant, and I think we have set ourselves up for success, and the dominoes will fall in that direction. I believe that.
Can I ask you a fun question?
Yes.
Every school in Mansfield has a mascot, whether it's the Eagles or the Tigers or the Broncos or so. It was just, if the city council were to have a mascot, what would it be?
Oh. It would be a bird, I think.
A bird?
Yes, it would be a bird. I would think either an eagle or an owl, because each of them represents strength. And I think our council represents strength, and we've been a good team.
But owls only come out at night.
Oh, no, they don't.
No.
Oh, no, they come out. And I think with an owl is they are out, and they are looking, and, they're wise.
Right.
And so I would think that we would be something, I would think closer to an owl than probably an eagle, because we've taken the steps to try to educate ourselves and really think about things so that we can be wise when we make our decisions. And we may make mistakes, but that's all part of being wise.
You're running against one opponent. That opponent has not only declined an interview on About Mansfield, but has also come out and is not going to be doing any public forums. Any thoughts on that strategy?
I'm going to every one of them. I'll be at every one. I was at a business one, because at the end of the day, I'll be bringing my pad and I'll be writing on it. Took notes the last time around because I want to hear what the people have to say. And that will be to her loss and detrimental to her. But when you're used to not really being part of a community and not really being out there to see what's really going on, perhaps you don't really think you are missing anything.
If anyone wanted more information about Tamera Bounds, do you have a website? Do you have a Facebook? Do you have an Instagram? Do you have a TikTok? What's going on with you?
No, I've been told I need to do Instagram, and maybe. But I do have Tamera Bounds Facebook, and then I do have a www.reelecttamerabounds.com. So, and if you get on that, I have resources on there. So it will give you every resource that you need to look at, even frequently asked questions on some of the things that have been said in public, and any questions that you may have, and links to other areas that you can go and find the information yourself. Because at the end of the day, you should do your own research and not take what other people tell you as gospel, because it's not always that way.
reelecttamerabounds.com.
You got it.
Or look her up on Facebook and someday Instagram.
Maybe someday Instagram, Facebook, and my website's quite a bit. Remember, I've got 11 grandkids and kids and day job, and city council's a lot in itself. But just remember, I am Tamera Bounds, and I do want your vote on May the 3rd to reelect me to Mansfield City Council Place 2.
Tamera, good luck on May 3rd.
Thank you.
Coming up next week on About Mansfield, our candidate series continues, and we will talk in studio with Anna Alicia Horn. She's running for school board. In the meantime, this is the place where you will hear the latest Mansfield news, talk, and information. Until then, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, engage, connect, amplify, elevate, celebrate, embrace, explore, share, love, or support this podcast if you haven't already, so you never miss an episode. It's free and it's easy. Head on over to our website, aboutmansfield.com. Enter your email address right there on the homepage. We will never, ever, 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 ever send you any spam. We promise.
About Mansfield is recorded at Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio. Hosts Steve Casillo and Colleen Daniel. Moment with the Mayor feature Michael Evans. Methodist Mansfield News to Know, Angel Biasatti. Cultural Arts Calendar, Tim Roberts. Cocktail of the Week, Brian Certain. Post-production, editing, mixing, and mastering, Steve Casillo and Andrew Miner.
This podcast is copyrighted by Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this podcast without prior written consent is strictly prohibited. We thank y'all for listening. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Steve Casillo, and this is About Mansfield.